Welcome
to the Bring Me to Life podcast.
It's time to wake up
and shine on.
I know I'm not crazy, I'm awake, my bones may break, but my soul they can't take, this force they can't shake, the universe is on my side, pledge allegiance to the earth, she's my ride or die, open up your third eye, never stop asking why, there's poison in the sea, there's pollution in the sky, our children fed lies, school cripples creativity, we worship false idols, Madonna and Nativity, our forsaken founding fathers, won't you please forgive me? Our nation's gone to shit, I guess we never were free. It seems the end is near, more often than not. Cause money talk hot, you talk truth, you're bound to get shot. Why not? How come? We got 99 to 1, slowly stripping us of rights. You better buy you a gun. All is one and none, the same sun overhead. We all flesh and bone, we all look the same dead. We break the same bread, the flesh all bleeds the same. We all laugh, we all cry, we feel joy and pain. I am not insane, I'm just wide awake. Been starved of truth for so long, I'm finally having my cake. Who says you can have it, but it's forbidden to eat? Well, that's Adam and Eve, that don't apply to me. Please don't cry for me, you have nothing to fear. They can only kill my vessel, I'll be back next year. I'll be back from the cracks when the spring comes again. I'll be back on a track, being honored by my friends. We can all live forever here. All of us are gods. You gotta see with your mind's eye and stop sawing logs. Wake up, sleepyhead, get your chakras in check. Exercise your human rights, we all one, we gotta flex. Gotta show 'em what we got, we ain't fucking robots. We refuse to consume or buy anything you got. We're the anti-Americans, no new world order. My earth is so sick, revolution's what the doctor ordered. I smoke another quarter, puffin' past Shiva. One hit of God's grass, I was born again believer. Mary Jane, I'll never leave her. She relaxes my mind, but they don't want us together, so they make marriage a crime. Equal rights for all. Love comes without conditions. So what? He likes butt, she likes to eat out bitches. This survival of the richest, only money divides. They got forks in the tongue, they always spinning their lies. I just wanna fucking live, forget the color of your skin. If you're a man or a woman, old head or a kid. If you're gay, if you're straight, if you're real, if you're fake. Your life is what you make, you give back what you take. Manipulate her majesty and strip her of her pride. Exploit and rape her body, drilling gaping holes inside. Keep sucking her dry of black blood and blue skies. Replace it with prime time and drive-by crime. This is my home too, I won't stand the abuse. Provide drive for these suicides, you give us the news. I don't have a screw loose, I just know the fucking truth. It's a gift and a curse, and my life is the proof. Truth is what I choose, real knowledge I use. And I will learn till I die, see you on the other side. See you in the next life, I hope we meet again, friend. It's a mad, mad world, but this is not the end. This is just the beginning, this the birth of something honest. The creation of a way of life without making a profit, without making a paycheck, without the cold cash. Rise up and take back, we the phoenix from the ash. Mama raised a real prophet, never lost it, never will. Fine-tuning my mind and demonstrating my skill. Don't hide your face, you are beautiful and blessed. You have a right to be here, so get it all off your chest. Why don't you lean on me? Let's take a walk for a while. Let's try to remember what life's like through the eyes of a child. Times are way too wild, we face a World War III. It's evolve or fucking die, folks, which one it gonna be? Not crazy, no, I'm a force they can't shake. I've been to hell and back, cause I wake up every day.
Hello, Bring Me to Life tribe. I'm grateful that you are here listening. I am so excited to be checking in with all of you, and I'm kind of curious how everyone's doing out there. It's been quite an evolution of times here in 2020.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 2020 definitely feels so intense, and I've been preparing for this for a long time, and I'm actually just... It seems like humanity's waking up, and we're ready to take back our power, and
people are showing up. Yeah. So 2020 to me is what I think a lot of us expected 2012 to be. It's this shift of consciousness in a way that everyone has to kind of open their eyes to the changes that are needed in the world.
Yes, there's a lot of changes needed in the world, and And I think right now, more people around the world are united than ever before through the Black Lives Matter, Black Lives Matter protests, from police brutality, from all the countries are joining in and saying, we see you, we love you, and we know what's happening in America isn't right. And we're here to support the people. All the people are coming together.
And they're even saying it kind of across the board that there's this power that is kind of being corrupt across the globe, and it's becoming more of a global movement. So we're recording this in the middle of, the beginning of June 2020, and it's in the midst of the Black Lives Matter movement. We're just kind of getting out of what I was calling the Great Pause. Well, it wasn't just me. There's many of us calling it the Great Pause, but I'm kind of calling it now the Great Rebirth, because we moved from this time of being still and learning and kind of stepping back from our day-to-day actions and kind of seeing how busy and how commercialized and consumerized life really was for so many beings. And the collective had to take a step back when COVID came through, because it didn't just affect one country. It affected the globe.
The whole world.
So we had to evolve.
Together.
Yeah.
As a one world.
So now we've moved from that and realizing that all lives matter in that way to this, wait a second, there are specific lives that are being targeted, and there's different communities and different intersectionalities of human beings that aren't being respected by other humans. And this is something that we've been trying to kind of find our place in and our voice in here on the network, because our core values are peace, love, unity, and community. Equality. So it's very important for us to kind of put a stand on this, that it's so important for us as a community to come together and support those in need and those that are feeling unheard, and that when justice needs to happen, to show up and find your place. And for some people, that's using their voice. For some people, it's doing research and getting educated and learning where maybe each of us could show up just better in all aspects of our life.
Yeah. I think a huge thing will also be teaching future generations how to love and treat everyone equally. And, because I really don't believe that anybody is born racist. And I think that if we all had a better way of growing up and seeing the world and seeing each other and how beautiful each other is, and I think that'll do a lot for the long run. Because a lot of the racist and those people, I think, just grew up with it. And it wasn't that long ago that we were segregated.
I did a report on Ruby Bridges in 4th grade, and I just kind of realized that she's only 65 this year. That means that less than 100 years ago, just barely over 50 years ago, she was the first Black woman or Black child to enter a fully white community school. And that was a big deal. And to think that she's only 65 now, that's like the same age as many of our parents.
Yeah. And with Martin Luther King, he did a lot of work, but again, that wasn't a whole lot of time ago. And that was really intense, where so many racists existed, and it was just like a common thing. Like, it was fine. Like, that was the norm. And that's really ridiculous, because we've been fighting this same fight for so long.
I think it's interesting too that this is happening during Pride Month, when that's also a time that there's so many beings that are out there just fighting for their right to love and to be loved unconditionally, of what they look like and what their physical appearance may come off as, because we've been so brainwashed into thinking that you have to be like a male or a female or masculine or feminine, depending on what parts you're born with. But really, there's so much more to it than that. There's life experiences. There's this ability to just love and to be seen. And there's just different levels of understanding, and there's different realities out there beyond our own perception.
Yeah, there are. And it's, important to be open to other people's grief and other people's pain. And, that's why I did a meditation recently where we did compassion and love for ourselves, so that first we could clear our energy and just be the best that we are able to in the moment. And then we felt compassion for others and what others are going through. Because, we're not all in the same situation, but most of us, I feel, have the ability to have compassion.
Mm-hmm. That's something that's been a big part of my spiritual journey, is to understand the empathy, the compassion, the feeling from another person's perspective, because we often think that if we think a certain way or we perceive it a certain way, that everybody does. And that's just not how the reality is for everyone.
Yeah. The source wouldn't want it that way, because we're here to experience individuality. We're here to experience expansion and to play out all realities. And so it's a part of it. So we can't get I don't think we can get too wrapped up in it to where we lose our minds. We definitely have to find a balance between taking action, between being an activist or putting ourselves out there and getting rest. And like I said, having compassion for ourselves, loving ourselves, taking care of ourselves so that we can help others is really big.
Yeah, I think that's important too, and to realize that it's okay to kind of take a breath and breathe, and to continue learning and to look at it from an outside perspective rather than being right in the fire. I know at the beginning of many of the transitions, being an empath and being an intuitive, I get a lot of different messages, and I also have a lot of personal opinions, and I like to use my voice as kind of my weapon or my message to the universe or whoever's listening. And sometimes people jump into conversations really quickly, or maybe they're, again, just perceived differently. And I think something that's really important for us as spiritual beings is those that feel like they have the ability to navigate conversations or hold space for conversations that are very important and need to be had. Kind of hold that platform, be willing to learn, and be willing to transmute the fire, because sometimes maybe you, and this is something I learned from personal experience, sometimes I know I have to kind of act as an example, and sometimes those actions aren't always perfect, but it gives me a platform to learn and to get educated. And in that, other people that are watching that may be silent because they don't know how to navigate the conversation are learning just kind of by looking and watching and observing how people have these conversations. Because if we continue to stay quiet, nothing really gets learned. So sometimes some of us have to step forward and have those conversations that aren't necessarily comfortable with family and friends and even supporters or people that just end up in your community. And it's that time to stand up for your fellow beings and to find out what it is you believe in. And if you're having a hard time figuring that out, then it's time to get educated. And that means something different for everybody.
Yes, I am ready to, end the whole racism thing. It's so ridiculous that it even has to be a thing. We all bleed red as earthlings.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I just have a different perspective because I really believe that we're all part of God. We're all a reflection of that person. And, I obviously don't want anybody to be disrespectful or cause harm or anything like that. So I don't condone anything like that. But as long as people are peaceful and aren't harming anybody, it doesn't matter what they look like. It doesn't matter, where they grew up or anything like that. What matters is who they are in the inside. what kind of character. Just like Martin Luther King said, like he dreamed of the day when people would be looked at based on their character rather than their skin color.
Mm-hmm. And there is a time to take action, and sometimes as much as we want peace in all aspects, there's different ways to navigate to get that peace. So that's something that's important to understand too, is that there's been proven ways to make change in the community. And like I said, that looks different for everybody and how they take action in making change.
Yeah, I think what the big thing is getting everybody on the side of humanity, because there's a separation between humanity and the police force and the military, and our military was used against us during the protests. And I think once those military people realized that we're all in this together, a lot of them were on video laying down their shields, were taking off their masks, were like kneeling down.
There's been a lot of different changes. There's been a lot of people kind of quitting their jobs, depending on what perspective inside they're on. There's been a lot of people getting fired. There's been justice being served in some cases, and there's a lot of cases that are still open and people are still fighting for them. So there is change being made, and there's a lot of change that are coming from the protests. Many peaceful protests are getting a lot more people involved. I know I have some elders in my community that were a part of the civil rights movement in their earlier years. And a lot of them are kind of also asking, like, where are the leaders? Where is the leadership? And that was kind of at the beginning of it too. And a lot of leaders have been kind of stepping up. But many of them have said that one thing they are proud of is how much support this movement has this time, of all shapes, sizes, colors, and walks of life. And that's the thing here, where it's like, yes, Black Lives Matter, and this has become a humanity issue where we're fighting for humanity and rights as beings here to be seen and to be respected, and standing with each other against that kind of brutality and military force is kind of important. Now, how that goes forward and how that's reformed, I think there's a lot of discussion that is not necessarily, again, what we want to dive into right here, right now, because it's evolving. We're in the middle of the evolution. It took a few days for people to understand why the protests were being conducted in the way they were. And some of them were conducted really well. Some of them were kind of the instigating process. And then there's a lot of different theories being thrown around about people being planted in there and all of these different things.
I saw an article about that, and Twitter officially, like an official spokesperson, found that one of the Twitter accounts that was posting about people of color going around to all the white communities and taking what's theirs and killing any white person they saw was run by like a white supremacy group. And an official spokesperson for Twitter said that on the news, and then they basically removed and banned that account.
I mean, it not to stir the pot too much, but I mean, if you're part of the KKK, why wouldn't you go and instigate violence at a protest to try to get more Black people arrested and targeted? Like, that just seems like something they would do, you know, like, and that's kind of where I spoke out, and I was like, please, like, if you're not there to follow Black leadership, like, don't be causing destructive situations and getting people of color targeted and arrested, because it's not your place to lead right now. And many different people had different perspectives of that, and it was mainly because in my heart I was scared that people were getting set up. And that was like kind of early on in my intuitive gut. There was just like, there's a lot happening here that's not being shown. Mm-hmm. And I think there's still so many different angles and perspectives of it. It's very intense.
Mm-hmm. It is hard because it divides a lot of people, but you know, that's what politics does too every day. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately it's part of a plan that the people who are running the system, you know, they want to keep that going. So it is a tactic, and I think that things are changing and people are coming together. And you know, the Occupy movement was huge in 2014, or I think that's when it was. And then this Black Lives Matter protest, it's even bigger. Like, and that's crazy to think about because Occupy was a huge protest. So to see something like this be even bigger, I think it shows that the rest of the world respects the people of color and what they've been through, and we're ready to make up for that, and we're ready to bring everybody back into the world of equality.
Thousands of people are risking their life in the middle of a global pandemic to scream from the tops of their lungs that these people matter. And it's important to know that people are being judged by that, because I mean, I'm somebody who believes that there's got to be some sort of intelligent life out there beyond the earth. And I'm over here like, if we can't get along as earthlings, how are we supposed to make communication with the outside like galaxies and beyond this spaceship that is Earth? Like this is why I'm saying this is an evolution. I saw, to lighten the mood a little bit, I saw a couple of different things on the internet, and one of them was like, we're kind of in the motion of figuring out if we want to go into the direction of Star Wars or Star Trek, because we could be battling it out with the Resistance and whatnot in Star Wars, or we could be kind of evolving into Star Trek, where we go out and we meet other life forms and expand and explore, or we can sit here and fight each other, and then other galaxies will continue to fight with us as well.
Yeah, when I was a kid, I'd tell you I did not realize how amazing Star Trek was and how diverse it was. When you go back, it was made in the 70s and the 80s and 90s, and they had people of all different colors, different nationalities, and they were playing big roles. And it's just a testament to the direction that the person who created it wanted to go, was a world where everybody had equality. There was no money, so we all were able to do what we loved. We were able to explore. Humanity got its shit together in Star Trek. And in Star Wars, it's just more of the same. And I do love Star Wars. I love it. But the idea of being able to explore and not having to be in a war like all the time, action is great, but all the time is very, is a lot. You get really tired.
Yeah, being someone, again, who believes in different life existence out there, I read a book called The Prism of Lyra, and it talks a lot about how Star Wars is based off of this concept of energy being recreated and replayed out throughout the galactic universe. And there's a lot of mentions of like draconian energy and Pleiadian energy and Sirian energy and all these different starseed collectives that have been out there and have been playing out the same energy, where they go to a planet and they create a system of community and a structure in this very kind of tense warlike energy and very like military like energy that is forcing one way or no way type lifestyles on people, kind of takes over and destroys their whole planet. And I feel like that's kind of what we're trying to fix and evolve from here in Earth times now.
I'd say the majority of people would love to see a world that we're talking about. And a minority of the people want to continue to hoard it all and to remain in power. And I don't know if anybody out there has watched the movie Ants, where there's these crickets. I think they're crickets.
Grasshoppers, something like that.
Yeah. And they're the big bad people because they're bigger than the ants. They're stronger than them.
Bossing them around,
like always bullying them. And there's a scene in the movie where they're at their cricket bar eating or drinking whatever drink they have. And the guy was saying, "See this nut? This is one ant. When I throw it at you," he throws it at the guy and it hits him. He's like, "No, was that like was that a lot? And the guy was like, haha, no, that was just a little ant. Of course I could knock it away. And no problem. And the guy was like, all right, well, how about this? And he breaks whatever thing, and it just dumps thousands of nuts on the dude. And he was like, this is ants. As long as there's only one, it's fine. But if they can gather together, then they're fucking strong as shit.
I don't think they said that in the Ants movie, but that's basically the message.
That's basically what he said. And that's us. That's fucking us right now.
Yeah, I mean, if we come together as a community, we make change, and there's power in numbers. And that's something they've taught us since we were little, is if you can build a community and you can stand together, you can change the world. So it's time for really communities to figure out how to come together, to find leadership roles that are people that are willing to step into those leadership roles, and not in necessarily a power hungry way, but in a way that those that need leadership and those that are asking, what do we do next? They know who they can go to and they can trust, and they know that they're not being led blindly by social media, because we've seen how social media can really sway the masses in both good and bad directions, and people think they're doing good. Kind of like with the Black Square movement. Everybody's like, I want people to know that I stand in allyship, and everyone puts a black square up because it goes around that's how you show that you're in alliance. And then we find out that that's just a way kind of to take up space. Once you start seeing all these black squares, you're like, wow, people's voices aren't really getting shared. It's kind of muting it more, and it's taking our power away and our voices away. So like when you just blindly follow social media and there's no true leadership kind of taking action, I feel like things get taken back a few steps. So it's really important to find people that are willing to use their voice, willing to kind of put themselves out there and lead the way as well. And I think that's what we've been as a collective waiting for. And the time is now, and people are stepping up in various communities, not just the Black Lives Matter movement. That is huge and it's important. And it's another thing to like to move it is when I get really wound up about this, because I have family and people that I really care about that I know are affected by the Black Lives Matter movement. You actually showed me, it was like a montage, I guess is the term, of the different superheroes all coming together.
It was like the end game scene where they're fighting Thanos,
and it was like everybody kept saying like, you done pissed them off. You got the Mennonites and the Amish and witches and everything fighting together. Like, this is getting end game up in this bitch. And then
busting out.
Yeah, then somebody made the video and you got Anonymous coming out after 3 years, and like that's a whole nother thing that's happening in the evolution, is how Anonymous just revealed so many things that could really shift power in a lot of different politics and other communities. So it's like there's so many different levels of life coming to a changing point, a turning point, an evolutionary point. I thought I wanted a revolution, but I just want to see the evolution happen. I want to see people grow. I want people to know it's okay to grow and change your opinion after you do research, or after someone shows you like, okay, yeah, you've had some privilege, or yeah, you didn't understand that person's perspective and it makes a whole lot more sense now. It's okay to change. It's okay to evolve.
I'm ready for the evolution too, and what I would really like to see is us being able to take down people who have abused their power, and to create a more sustainable system that we can all share and grow together. Something even like the Venus Project with Jack Fresco, who came up with these philosophies of a system that you could run with resources, and everybody has enough. Everybody has a vehicle, a home, everything they need to live and be happy. And maybe like an average work week for people who need to go and do that would be maybe like 10 hours a week, which would be the average like full time. And so everybody would have equal opportunity to get work. Nobody would have to be overworked, because you would still be able to get everything you need.
And play to people's strengths. Like when people come to me and they ask how they can help different communities, I always like to like ask them what they feel like their strengths are and what they feel like they're actually good at. Because so often we ask people to do things that is not something that their skill set is conditioned for. Like, I feel like growing up, I was raised in a family that appreciated creativity. They didn't necessarily promote it as a specific way of work, but they appreciated creativity. So I like to think out of the box a lot, and not everybody in my family was outspoken, but I feel like I got respect for it, and I was conditioned through different leadership classes and things like that to use my voice in like debate team and things like that in school. So there's different things people are conditioned for. Some people are more conditioned to be nurturing and caregivers. Typically you find them in medical situations. There's some people that they have more physical strength. They like to lift things and build things and to create things in that platform. So it'd be better to have them like doing construction works or things that brings people joy and a sense of feeling successful. Where right now we're so pushed into doing whatever job we can to pay the bills, to survive, and to feed ourselves, and to make sure our families are taken care of. Like, I think that this world would be so much better if we could actually play to people's strengths and personalities.
Yeah, I definitely agree. We are forced into whatever is available at the time, but that's what happens when you just have a really, not well-run system. If we were able to do the things we were good at, this world would be run much smoother. I think there's a lot of artists, musicians who aren't able to create art, who aren't able to create music, which is one thing that this world loves. It's one thing that can heal this world, and it's been around since the beginning of time, and people aren't able to do it because they are forced to do something they don't want to do, to live a life that they may not enjoy, where they go to sleep, they wake up, go to work, come home, sit down and watch something, go to sleep. And, I try my best to have hobbies, to have projects that I can come home to after my caregiver job, where I'm able to, create a video or to make some music or to do something creative, because I think creativity is huge in this world.
Definitely. I mean, I think one of the things that kind of got me fired up too is when they were trying to mute people's voices, it kept us from creatively sharing stories that could be different perspectives. And I completely agree with it was time for white people to kind of take a step back so that Black leadership could be heard. But I also think that it's important for people to use their voices in a way that they can connect with whoever actually is listening to them, because I have a lot of people who have reached out and said that they wanted to see my perspective and different things like that. So again, sharing stories about how, when I was really little, my grandmother was engaged to a Black man, and I had people on my other side of the family who didn't necessarily approve of that. And I wasn't supposed to call him Grampy or any term of endearment or like family, because he wasn't biological and he didn't look like me. They didn't explain it to me then as a kid, but like looking back, that's totally what the reason was. And me being able to share that with other people in my white community, it shows them how little things like that are very racist and very they create blocks, and they create memories and traumatic experiences in people's brains. Mm-hmm. And it's important to kind of share that as well. And when you going back to what you said about musicians and artists not being able to create at the same time, many of us muted, and it's very respectful to hold space again for that leadership. But if your mission is to help others be the best version of themselves, which I know that's kind of like my mission, and I know that many other coaches, consultants, spiritual leaders, their mission is to lead a spiritual life to help inspire others to find out what their truth is. And there's been a lot of talk in the spiritual community about, well, we're all one and all lives matter, and it's like, yes, we get that. We're all one, but we're all one having different experiences. And it's important to show up and figure out what your mission is. And again, my mission is to help inspire others to be the best version of them. So that includes supporting, again, all walks of life, all people that are trying to be the best version of themselves, whether that's them evolving and looking into different perspectives or them showing up as an ally. whatever your mission is, whether it's creating music that helps inspire the change and the evolution, then share that. Make sure you find a way to continue incorporating this experience and this evolution into your core mission.
Mm-hmm. And I know that you personally have recently done a few episodes with different people with different perspectives. And we also have some people that we're working on a new show with for the Bring Me to Life network. And I am really looking forward to making it an effort to get more diversity on the network, on the podcast, to seek out different perspectives and hold more space for compassion and kindness to others who may have had, a lot of pain through their life.
Definitely. Yeah. Breezy and I have an episode coming out on Awakening with the Girls that's kind of covering this topic in real time discussion on the different happenings, because her and I have been kind of collaborating and evolving through this situation and finding our place together as women as well, because again, this is very there's a lot of different levels to it, because it goes again beyond even just Black Lives Matter. It goes back to the Me Too movement and how women are also fighting a battle of equality and things like that. Like there's a lot of different levels. And again, we're going to talk about that a little bit more on Awakening with the Girls on Friday. And you mentioned that we have new podcasts coming out, hopefully in July. We have a couple of different podcasts that are in the works. I don't want to reveal too much because I think that it's going to be exciting to release that new energy. We're kind of going with the rebirthing in July and really bringing new content, new voices. If you're somebody out there in the spiritual community and you are excited about what this network has to offer and you've been following, or maybe you're just now finding out about us, welcome to the community and reach out to us. Join us in the Bring Me to Life group on Facebook. Share inspirational content to help others wake up and shine on. Reach out to Silo and I. If you're looking to put a podcast together, we've built this network to kind of reach out. And we have a little bit of a screening process, but really we just want to hear from you. We want to build the community and spread voices out in a way that people can see those different perspectives. They can grow.
Mm-hmm. That's what we're here for, to hold space. To hold space, and everybody deserves peace, love, equality, and we deserve to feel like we're one with God, and to have a relationship, and to seek out our spirituality in our own terms. That's what this is all about. And so we got a soul tribe comment in the chat room. And, I'm grateful that we have people who are part of the community.
Soul Tribe's something I've been thinking about a lot lately, because when I was really little, I kept having these dreams, and I still have these dreams, but they started when I was really young, and I would see other souls around this fire, and it was a really colorful fire, and I would communicate with them, and I would know that it felt like I was going to meet them in a different time of life. And through my experiences, especially since I've kind of committed to my spiritual journey, I've met some of those souls in passing. And many of those souls call themselves rainbow warriors or rainbow tribe members. And it's actually part of one of the Hopi prophecies, is that when the world is coming up to basically falling apart, that those that are rainbow warriors or rainbow tribe will come together in a way that is building unity, building community, bringing peace, love, and understanding and respect. And I've met, again, many of those people, and I know I'll continue to meet those people. You were one of those people. I actually talk about this on a couple other podcasts. Breezy's one of those people. Our friend Melissa, Ashton. These are people that I feel like saw us all just playing as these little children around this rainbow fire. And we just all have this deeper mission to see the world be a better place, where we can continue to play and grow and not just be childlike, but be wise and understanding. And there's so many wise souls out there that are just trapped in what is considered a younger body right now. And I am so grateful to see the younger community, the generations that are sometimes not necessarily seen for their full potential, stepping up and rising up to the occasion to figure out how to use their voice and to how to heal what many of our ancestors have laid out in a very interesting way for us to tackle.
Rising up, stepping up, gonna get it up.
Rising up and glowing up.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
I have a good channeling that I'm working on getting out there into the world. So stay tuned for my Angels of Light channeling.
Yeah. So we got a few more episodes coming out later this month. We are sticking with Tuesdays at 8 p.m. live. So anytime anybody would like to join us for that, we have a chat room at bringmetolive.com/podcast. So our next episode is going to be a roundtable, and it'll be about something like the state of affairs, or we'll have a panel of people talking about what's going on in the world.
Kind of continuing this discussion of the evolution, but with more people in our community.
Yeah. And then I know sometime soon we'll be releasing episodes that you have done on Awakening with the Girls. We'll kind of sprinkle those in here and now through the Bring Me to Life podcast when we feel that message is, needs to be put out on this one as well.
Definitely. I am super excited for a radio playlist that I am working on for songs for the evolution. So if you know music that is uplifting or inspirational to the current times, please reach out to us, share a way for us to get a hold of those musicians, or just share good music with us. We're working on building the network, and I have an interview that is going to be coming out with Shayna Gladstone, aka Sister Stone. And if you haven't checked her out, definitely check that out. I know Chances Are Good has a few new albums out that have really been helping me kind of evolve through the times. And, even Jason Mraz has a new album out, and it's really inspiring too. It's called Look for the Good. So if you need some good tunes.
Look for the good in everyone.
Yeah. Our friend Ashton from Spaceship Earth also put out a single called Evolve. And I think, I just want to mention that I think that one's pretty synchronistic because he's been working on it for, I think, definitely a couple months, maybe a couple years. And he had the date for it set prior to all of the protesting and all of the kind of shift in times. And it starts out, within it, there is a Martin Luther King quote that he had just kind of intuitively put in there. And for it to release in the midst of all of the Black Lives Matter movements, I thought that was pretty synchronistic and powerful that channel came through. And it was like Martin Luther King knew his voice needed to be heard again, right here, right now. In that moment, and he had that date kind of synchronistically planned. So Evolve by Spaceship Earth. There's a lot of good music. Stay tuned to Bring Me Life Radio. We're working on some playlists for you. We've got some interviews and great content. The website has some different things for you to check out. bringmetolife.com with the number 2. I know Selomon's got a abundance program he's collabing with coming
Rebecca.
up too.
Yeah, with Rebecca. Yep. We're going to do 28 days of abundance where we have meditations, affirmations, daily journal topics, and some other really cool stuff that I'm excited about.
Yeah, so if you're wondering where you can kind of start with yourself. Start with yourself and making a change in evolution of yourself. Create your own abundance, call in your abundance so that you can make donations and moves towards the life that you wish to see, whether that's donating to communities that you feel inspired by that are making change, or investing in your life so that your cup is so full that you can then overflow and help others. Abundance is something so key to all the time in your life. And I'm working on an emotional alignment series. It used to be my chakra series, but I realize it's really focused on creating emotional stability and understanding within yourself while we work through guilt and shame and fear and frustration and grief. And I'm working on getting a new date for that. It was supposed to be this week, but again, with the current state of times, I wanted to put a little bit more effort into getting that message out there. So if you want to participate in my alignment challenge, getting your emotional stability connected, and organized, you can join me in the Light Up Your Life group or the Shantastic Shine Tribe group on Facebook, or if you just follow me anywhere in the social world, I'm sure you will see an update for it.
Yes, so grateful for everybody tuning in today. We have so many things to be grateful for, and you are at the top of the list.
Thank you for being here. Thank you for waking up. Thank you for shining on. And I hope that you continue to go out there and be the best version of you that you can be.
Yeah. So stay awake.
Shine on always. Bye. For many of us, spirituality is just the quest to find essence or true meaning and to really just connect with a higher consciousness.
Connecting with your spirituality is very important in this life. By becoming mindful of all of it, you can realize where you are and if that is leading you to where you want to go.
Listen to the little simple things, because it's those little simple things that are going to shift you vibrationally in such a way that will prepare you to become very intuitively minded and ready to step forward on the next part of your path.
I hope you can feel the love that's inside you, it's inside me, that connects us.
Thanks for shining on with us.